Hi everyone, I'm Gautam aka the Seeker of Wisdom. I'm a manifestation coach, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the basics of law of assumption. Now, before I do so, I'd like to remind you guys I am available for coaching. I offer hourly, monthly, email, and DM coaching. The link will be in the description down below. I also have a Facebook group where you can post and ask questions anonymously, and a mailing list where I'll post articles and my latest offers and discounts for coaching. So, again, all the links are in the description down below. If you have any inquiries about pricing, be sure to DM me or email me, and I'll put those links down as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the law of assumption basics and the acronyms that's being used in the community, and basically I'm going to be going through what each and every one of those commonly used ones mean, and how it works basically. So the first one I wanted to talk about was SP. So the term SP refers to a specific person, or sometimes it can also refer to things like special person and so on. But the idea generally is that you are referring to a person who you'd like to be romantically be involved with. Other times it can also refer to other people as well, but in 90% of the cases at least, it refers to someone who you'd like to be romantically be involved with. So the other one is SC. SC stands for self-concept, and this normally refers to how you view yourself with regards to an area of your life, say like finance or romance and those kinds of things. So we all have different self-concepts with regards to different things, and SC simply means self-concept. So yeah, another one that's often being thrown around is 3P. So this is related to the specific person as well. So 3P stands for third party. So let's say you are involved with a person, and then there's another person who is so-called an obstacle, or let's say your specific person is involved with another person. Normally they are called third party. Basically anyone who is not you being involved with your specific person is called a third party. So it could be a spouse of a specific person, it could be the boyfriend or girlfriend of a specific person, or it could be anyone, maybe could be a hindrance to your relationship, who also wants to be romantically be involved with the SP, for example. Those kinds of cases, we call them third parties. So the other one is EIYPO, which is everyone is you pushed out. So this normally means that we are internal, like whatever that's going on within us, it's being externalized in our world, right? So we often say in the law of assumption that the world is us externalized, and that's what it means when people say everyone is you pushed out. So normally we will see in the community uh, that written as EIYPO. So that normally means that everyone is you pushed out. So if you ever encounter that, like, that's what it means. So the other one is SAT. So SATs normally refer to visualizations, but it's very specific type of visualization. So SATs refer to the state akin to sleep. So they call it SATs, state akin to sleep. And what it means is basically Neville Goddard talks about this, and he talks about it in a way that basically when you're sleeping, as you're going to sleep, your brain goes into the subconscious, and everything is just more easily cemented into your subconscious mind. And what happens as a result of that is that you tend to feel that more real in your mind, and also you can manifest it easily as well. So right before you sleep, that drowsy sleepy state, and visualizing during that time is what like is very effective according to Neville. And a lot of his manifestation successes came when he visualized when he was very close to a sleep, and he in that drowsy sleepy state, and he visualized during those times. And that's what normally people refer to when they refer to SATs. It normally refers to the visualizing aspect, basically. So it's a very specific type of visualizing, but sometimes in the community it's also used synonymously with visualizing. So yeah, those are some of the more common terms that's being used. If there's any other common terms that you guys like me to explain, be sure to let me know in the comments down below, and I'll answer it. But that's pretty much it when it comes to acronyms. These are some of the more commonly used ones in the community that's often thrown around, and I really wanted to just explain some of those. So hope you found them helpful. So the next part of it, I wanted to talk about techniques. So when it comes to techniques with regards to law of assumption, I wanted to really explore, like, okay, if you're a beginner, where do you start? and how do you actually go about this process in the first place? Like, how do you actually, like, start your journey? So the first thing is knowing exactly what you desire, right? So knowing exactly what you desire is really going to help you to pinpoint to an objective that you are headed towards. So that's really important. So if you are unclear as to what you'd like to manifest, or what you like to bring forth into your life going, further down the line, the first thing you should do is to get clear on it, right? So take time to really reflect on it, think about it. You can journal down, write it down, do whatever you have to do in order to get clear in this, because when you get clear in this, as you go down further in the journey, you wouldn't be questioning a lot of things like, is this what I want, and anything like that. And this just saves you a lot of time. So don't be afraid to just sit down and reflect and really ask yourself the big questions like, what do you want out of life, and who are you, and everything like that. Because those questions are going to give you clarity that you need in order to, um, think about what you really want. So the first thing again is to know exactly what you want. So do whatever you have to do there. The second thing then is, techniques basically. So when it comes to techniques, there are like, visualizing, scripting, affirmation rampages, listening to affirmation tapes, and while you sleep at night. There are things like, meditating, from the point of like, your specific person, for example. There are things like, you can have inner conversations with people, monitoring your inner conversations, talking to your inner child to develop your self concept, and so on, right? So there are basically a plethora of techniques, and what I normally tell my clients is, we will work according to your learning style, right? So if you're a auditory learner, you're a visual learner, or you're a kinesthetic learner, right? We're going to be, like, using that to your advantage, right? So that's what I'll tell you guys as well, like, use your learning styles and your learning abilities to your advantage here. So for some people, affirmations may work, but it may not necessarily work for you. So you have to go out there, experiment, and really find out what really works for you. Another thing I'd like to point out is that different techniques may work for different aspects of your life. So for example, for me, like, maybe just thinking about certain things may work for a specific aspect of my life, maybe say like my social life, but it may not work for my finances, so to speak. And this often is because of the fact that we have different self concepts for different things. So that's why, different techniques works for different aspects of our lives. So some we may require a little bit more repetition, a little bit more effort, to do those techniques and really get our mind to really believe those things. But in other cases, we believe things so easily because our self concept with that is so high. And yeah, so those are things that you may want to look into. So the other thing is, so you have established now that you exactly know what you want, and you're exploring into techniques. I would say maybe choose 2 to 3 techniques that really resonate with you, and just stick to that and be consistent, and not try like maybe 5 or 10 different techniques. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes people overwhelm themselves with a lot of techniques, and that is not going to help them here. So just stick to about 2 to 3 techniques that will really help you, that will really complement each other, and that is really going to help you a lot. Another thing that I would say with regards to techniques is that give it time to really show you the results, right? Because people can be impatient at times, and they might not give the technique enough time. They may not have tried a specific technique enough times or consistently over a period of time, and they go, maybe this doesn't work, right? Well, that's just because maybe it was working, and because there's always movement behind the scenes, right? But because you have not given it enough time to come to fruition into your 3D, right, you think it doesn't work, but that's not the case. It does work, right? So all you have to do is just give it a bit of time. So the techniques are one thing that you can do, when you are manifesting, right? But the other important thing is, what are your thoughts like when you're not doing all these techniques? So the first step again is to know clearly what you want, and second thing is to do your techniques and choose 2 to 3 of them. And the third step, I would say, is maintaining a favorable mental diet. So in other words, what are your thoughts like generally throughout the day? So your thoughts can be favorable when you're doing the techniques, but the question really is, what are you exactly doing or thinking when you're not doing all those techniques, for example, right? That is a very, very important question that you have to ask yourself, and really think about all those things, because and a lot of this comes from a lot of awareness, having a lot of self-awareness, right? So you really have to know what is it that you truly want, and make sure that all of your thoughts are favorable towards it. Like, say I would like a job, right, and I'm doing all my techniques and everything like that, but after doing my techniques, if I'm not thinking about it favorably, like if I'm thinking like, oh, I'm never going to get the job, or this is too good for me and stuff like that, after doing my techniques, what's going to happen is that these are going to cancel out all the work that I've done, right? So you might not see any effect in the 3D. So that is something that I just wanted to point out. So another acronym that I just wanted to say really quick is basically 3D. So what 3D exactly means is your three-dimensional reality. So this refers to the physical space. The community also refers to like the 4D, which is your imaginal reality. So those are things that you may see often as well. Just wanted to point that out really quick. So besides these, choosing 2 to 3 techniques, and knowing exactly what you want, and maintaining a favorable mental diet. So your mental diet is basically the maintaining a clear chain of thoughts that are favorable when it comes to your desire, and maintaining that is key here when it comes to manifesting, right? You want to think about your desires in a favorable manner as much as you can. It may not be 100%, so don't beat yourself up if it's not 100%, but you want it to be dominant as much as possible. So for example, if your unfavorable thoughts are like say 49%, you ideally want your dominant thoughts, your favorable thoughts, to be 51%, right? So in that way, because of the fact that it's dominant, that's what's going to manifest, right? So it doesn't have to be 100%, but make sure at least that it is the most dominant one, and that is really, really going to help you a lot here. Besides that, I would say possibly like refraining from discussing it with people who are not so aware about manifesting or the law of assumption in general. That could help, because especially when you're early on beginning your journey, people may not understand or resonate with you, and they may question your faith and the teachings. And what it does for a lot of people, it really shakes them up, and they really start to question, and all their fears, doubts, and other unfavorable emotions starts to rise up. And they really think, okay, does this really work? And they really get confused, right? So for your own sake, don't go around discussing this too often with people, unless they are aware of the law and stuff like that. So a good technique that I would say for this is that you can have a manifestation buddy or an accountability buddy who knows this law, and basically what they can do is you can like discuss with them, and they can keep you in check. So that could be a way, if you really want to talk about this with someone. So this could be something that you could look into possibly. The other thing I would say is, when it comes to manifesting, have a lot of patience. Because a lot of times people ask like, okay, like when, how, and those kinds of things, and these are things you have to let go of. So in law of assumption, when we say let go of things, oftentimes we are referring to letting go of the need to know when, how, and the need to have the desire right now. So that is something that we often say when we refer to like letting go. We are not asking you to let go of the desire in and of itself, but what we are asking you to let go is the need to know when, how, like, and is this really happening, those kinds of thoughts which do not serve you, unfavorable thoughts basically. So these are the things that we want you to let go of when we say let go of your with regards to your desire, because we are not asking you to let go of your desire, right? We are asking you to let go of that which doesn't serve you with respect to the desire. So these are things that you need to look out for, and like have a lot of patience, because sometimes your desire may come tomorrow, or it may come like maybe 10 days later, maybe even a few months later. But oftentimes it happens within like you will start seeing movement in your reality within like maybe say from weeks to months. And if you're maintaining everything consistently, if you have a favorable mental diet, you will start seeing movement anywhere from a few weeks to a month. So keep going, have that faith, and don't stop doing your techniques. And I feel like consistency here is key. So these are things you can do if you're a beginner. And another thing that I would say is with regards to consuming content. So with content, it really becomes tricky. This is a trap that a lot of people fall into when they are coming into law of assumption very early on, is that they tend to saturate themselves, or should I say overwhelm themselves with content from like various different YouTubers, Instagram posts, subreddits, and so on. And they get really confused. So my advice is, stick to like the original sources, like maybe like Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, and those kinds of people who really learned it from people like Abdullah, right? So those people, like, they have explained it clearly. So you can buy like Neville's books, The Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, and these are resources that are coming from like the purest forms, if you will. So consuming those content would really help you and really give you clarity. And also when it comes to like social media side or YouTube, for example, stick to content creators that you really resonate with, maybe like 2 to 3 coaches, if you will, and really just stick to them, rather than overwhelming yourself with say like 10 different YouTubers. Because the truth of the matter is that there are going to be various different techniques out there. And so the best thing to do, especially when you're beginning, is not to overwhelm yourself with techniques, because the techniques aren't what helps you manifest in your life. It's what the techniques does to your mind, which is essentially convincing you of the new assumptions, thoughts, and beliefs, right? So with affirmations, what you're essentially doing, for example, is like you are tricking your mind to believing in it, right, through repetitions, for example. And the same goes with like affirmation tapes. With visualizing, the idea is that your mind can't differentiate between your imagination and the reality that you're living in right now. So that's how you're convincing your mind. So all techniques converge in the sense that they're all trying to convince your mind of like this new reality. And when you do this long enough, consistently over a period of time, your brain doesn't question it and it becomes so natural, and that's when things starts to manifest into your life. So that's something to keep in mind. So don't overwhelm yourself with techniques. Know what they are used for. Those are just tools to really get you to the point where your thoughts are favorable, and it comes to you in a very natural way possible. So that is something that I really wanted to point out, because a lot of people tend to overwhelm themselves. So please don't fall into this trap. Just stick to a few content creators that you really resonate with. And yeah, so also one thing that I wanted to say was, don't be afraid to experiment. Like you can try maybe a couple techniques, maybe for a month or 3 months, and if it resonates with you, you can continue with some of them. And if some doesn't resonate with you, you can try something else. One way I try like to experiment is through like intending for things throughout the day. So maybe I might intend to see like a red colored Audi car, for example. Another day I might want to see a pink bird, for example. And it may come anywhere, right? It can come while I'm scrolling through Instagram, it may come while I'm walking down the street, it may come anywhere. But when you see it, you will know it as a telltale sign that it was because of your manifestation. So pick something that doesn't really pop up in your life often. So that could be a way for you to really sort of cement your faith into if manifesting really works, basically. So that's all from me, guys. If there's anything else, do let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you will always know when I upload a new video. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe and happy manifesting. Peace.